Hey guys, Jim and Pokemon here. Long time no see. I got a pretty special video for you guys today. One of the coolest packages I've ever got in, a Priority Mail Express. But first, I went to a card shop here in Nashville. If you guys don't know, I moved from Chicago to Nashville. I went and picked up a few things, so I figured I'd show you guys what I found there. There's some pretty minty looking cards, so can I show you the back of that? I mean, that's a pretty nice find for a card shop, you know. So I was pretty excited. I think that they hadn't even really priced them or put them out yet, and we just went on TCG Player and kind of found some cards. And I mean, if you're talking like, you know, Dark Blastoise, like, ooh, that's a good looking card. Probably a 9, I'd say. Pretty good looking card. So mint cards are still out there. Don't give up if you're still looking. I do like Amazing Rares. Good looking Japanese card. Fat Pika, I think, you know, may stay around for a little bit, being modern. Nice looking Lugia, some surface scratches right here. I think it might be an 8. A few more Amazing Rares. This is probably the cream of the crop right here. Red Gyarados, which is pretty sick. Really good looking card. If you look at the back, no real edge wear. The corners do have some wear. There's a little bit of a rough cut on a corner right here, so you can kind of see that rough cut at the top. I think it has a shot for an 8, but I mean an 8 PS, you know, Gold Star Gyarados. I mean, this is like insane. A few more shinings and that. So pretty much went through their inventory, and you know, if it looked like it was a decent looking card, I picked it up. So let's get into this. Let me crack this open. So it's like the whole box within a box thing. I think we're at the point that I can start pulling this stuff out. So this is an entire error card collection purchase. It took me about 6 months to work out the deal. Really good guy, staple in the community. Delibird Deals. Met him at in person at the Hartford event. We know each other for years. So if you're in the Facebook, you know, error collection group and all that, and you see those errors that pop up, they're always like these little errors. Everyone's like, oh, it's not an error, you know. Then something cool pops up. Everyone hops on. It's like, oh, I love this error. Basically, almost every card in here is going to be one of those. This is going to be a truly just special, unique video. I think you guys are really going to like. So here we have a Dark Dragonite, and if you read in the back here, the misaligned print layer, if you look at it, it almost looks like it's like double the text or something right here. So if you see that, it's like the misaligned layer right there. It's not as refined and stuff, so that's really cool. And all these errors are very unique and very special. So I'm not really sure what order he put these in. I'm just going to pull them out and go through them one at a time. But almost everything in this video is going to be something that you're like, oh my gosh, what a cool card. Maybe we just take it all out right here. Make sure there's nothing else in here. All right, I think we're ready. We'll just start from the top up here. So signed Mitsuhiro Rita, Shadows Venusaur, Dark Dragonite. These are not errors. I just thought they were cool, and he was willing to sell them. So pretty cool. And then we got the off-center Snorlax Jungle. So with some errors over the years, I've gotten less condition sensitive. Basically, if it's a good looking card and the price is right, I'll pick it up. Not everything has to be mint or gem mint anymore. It's just hard enough to find some errors as is. So off-center Mr. Mime, top to bottom. And when we say off-center, basically just mean the card isn't centered on the picture. So this yellow border at the top appears much thicker than this yellow border at the bottom down here. So it's off-center, it's shifted top to bottom. Off-center Zapdos, top to bottom centering. And with some off-center cards, you can actually see a print dot. So down here in the bottom left, we actually see that print dot right there. Pretty cool. And then why don't we play a game like guess the error? Like when you see it, can you guess what this error is? So I'll give you guys like a second. And if you don't see it already, basically the stamp is like faded down here. It's not a ghost stamp. It's literally like a, I don't know. It's like it almost, it's weird. Like a ghost stamp is the whole thing and it's faded or it's not stamped on or rubbed off. And this is like halfway there, halfway not. So that's kind of cool. Can you guess the error? Pretty similar. This is a smudge stamp. So there's a lot of variations with first edition base and the stamps. I feel pretty confident being able to pick out an authentic one and non-authentic one. This is a smudge, and so these do pop up every now and then. So you can kind of see what that looks like right there. Pretty cool. It's hard to, I mean, if people are going to tell you why this stuff happens, no one knows why some of this stuff happens. We can all speculate. I mean, the options, I mean, you could throw them out there like, you know, did the card in the back pull it up? Did something hit it? Did it rub off? I mean, like, you could really speculate on why some of these things happen, but I mean, no one from WotC's or Wizards of the Coast is going to speak up and say. So it's just, And everyone that has spoken up has had a financial interest in what they're talking about. So it's just going to be impossible for us to know kind of the costs and some of that stuff. Another error, top to bottom, Team Rocket's Meowth. Love the Black Star promos. Got an Onyx there, top to bottom, off center. Shadowless Growlithe. I was going to say Grialth. It's so weird. A little print dot here in the bottom. Oh my gosh, this camera is looking super good today, guys. Oh my gosh, this high quality. And this area is off center, left to right Growlithe. You can see the print dot up here. Kind of cool. Super energy removal. This is unlimited, top to bottom. This is unlimited as well. Clefairy, top to bottom. So if you know how to tell if something's shadowless, you look in the date right here. If you see 99, you know it's shadowless. If you don't, it's unlimited. Pretty cool Clefairy rare. Machamp, off center, top to bottom. This is the Galaxy Machamp, and it has the thin stamp. Kind of cool right there. It's the most common variant. You have the Item Finder, unlimited. A lot of off-center cards here. Trust me, there are more errors other than off-center. I think I'm just going with the off-center ones first. Krabby, top to bottom. Raichu, top to bottom. Eevee, this has a print Hickey down at the bottom. And so Hickeys are pretty common, especially in Jungle. I've personally opened multiple Jungle packs with Hickeys on the bottom of cards. I think I've actually had some that graded PSA 10, which is kind of cool. Pretty high mint grade. And so sometimes you see a print Hickey. Some people like those, some don't. These things are very, very common. Getting on a card like Eevee is probably harder to find, but just getting on a card in general, I mean, these things happen. And so I do get a little fearful when people pay a really big premium on some of these because there's a lot more out there than you think, and a lot of people just don't look for them. But if you have a good eye and you're looking through your cards, you may find one yourself. So I would just be cautious about paying too big of a premium on Hickeys. Can you tell what the error is? Is it focused? It's focused. We just got the crimp up here. It's kind of cool. And I think this is the long crimp version. And you can tell it's a long crimp, one, by the kind of the distance of the crimp and how the crimp's laid out. It is, you know, a horizontal crimp versus a vertical crimp. And you also see where the hole for where the long pack would go in the rack, you know, like a rack pack or something. So it's kind of cool. You do have the variations of the crimps, and you can see that right there. Got a Magmar, same thing, probably from the same pack. No, it can't be from the same pack because this is base and this is fossil. Oh, wow. That's kind of cool. So two different, you know, same error, two different sets. Yeah, off-center Aerodactyl. But can you guys tell me what the really cool part about this is? Like, why is this off-center card just a little extra special? So if you guys know that when cards are stamped, the stamping actually occurs at a different time than like the traditional like production, and so it's not like done like all in the same like flow, I guess you could say. Is then when the cards are stamped, they go through and basically, you know, they're stamped separately. And so when you see here the card's actually stamped in the correct place, you know, I think we actually put two cards side by side, and this stamp is in the exact position it should be in, maybe a little shifted to the right here, I guess you could say, but the top to bottom it is. And the Aerodactyl's off center, but the stamp is not. I have a Pikachu, a couple Pikachus in my collection, where one of the, like the Pikachu, this Dragonite, it's the Pikachu version of WB Dragonite. The WB stamp is off center, but the Pikachu is well centered. And I have actually another version of that card where the Pikachu is off center, but the WB is centered. So it's like I got the two different variations of this off center thing, which is kind of cool. So it is interesting when you do have things that, you know, happen sort of after the fact, like these stamps, how, you know, that doesn't necessarily mean this is off center. So kind of cool. Pre-release Aerodactyl. Why is this cool? Pretty well centered card, right? But it's missing part of the pre-release. And sometimes when you get these, you want to look really carefully at the stamp, because when you do get a stamp, you do have a little indentation. And you can see there's no marks of this actually existing. So it wasn't like someone picked it off or something. Like, you can see that the stamp actually never laid properly. So that's a pretty cool error in my book. Off-center Legendary Collection, left to right. You do not see a lot of off-center Legendary Collection cards. I might have 5 to 7 of them that are hollows. Then I got some more that are non-hollows. But sometimes when I see LC, it was such a brutal set to obtain and to collect that I like picking it up. You have Team Rocket, Dark Vaporeon. So there was a Charizard floating around a little bit that had some text errors and issues. What about a Vaporeon, where it comes to the Team Rocket right here? You have that. And then with Delibird, we actually looked at all the cards in detail, and we had a lot of conversations. We just debated some of the authenticity just to make sure we're all on the same page. And I think we were. And then like with some of these, we'd look on the side, was it like, was there any tampering? Is this stuff that we think was truly from the factory? So we had a lot of like really good like conversations about some of these things. And I feel pretty good about most of what we have here. It's kind of cool to see some of this stuff pop up. So you can see the color on this is a little different right here too on the border. But just little tidbits and stuff. So if you're seeing some of these errors for the first time, it's kind of cool, I guess. And this is similar to the Dragonite. The text is a little blurred, I guess you could say. This one isn't necessarily as, it's kind of hard to see because my camera won't focus. It's kind of hard to see, but it is a little blurry when you look at it. Maybe if I have another one side by side, there you go. So you can see it's not just the camera. You got the off-center Jungle Pikachu, top to bottom. Do have the first edition base. Love first edition base. OC errors, it's like, the first thing in English, that's first edition. And to get some of these errors, I always like picking them up. What's crazy is what I paid for this is the same thing that I was paying for PSA 9 first ed base OC errors like 4 years ago. So it's just, the market just never surprises you. We got the off-center Dragonair, top to bottom. Kind of cool. Love Dragonair, one of my favorite cards. You got the print dot here in the bottom right. We got the Ancient Mew. And why is this cool? Not only is it off-center, but it's top of the sheet. So you can see up there, it's the top of the sheet, which is kind of cool. So another little layer to that. And it is, creased and stuff. So I don't want you guys to think all these cards are mint or gem mint or pristine. I was buying them for what they are, not for what they could be. And so next up, another off-center Ancient Mew. You can see the difference here. This is not the end of the sheet because you can actually see part of the other card at the bottom here with this print line going through. And I don't even know if I call that a print line. That's just where the cards typically divide, which is kind of cool. Get the base set 2 Charmander. Maybe this is the OC back, maybe. Maybe I should look at that. Yeah, so the back of this is off-center, kind of cool. But you can see the condition of that card. That's kind of a cool card. I'd throw this in a binder, throw it backwards, and I'd probably put it in a... I like using white back sleeves in my error binder, but maybe I'll use like a perfect fit sleeve or something that shows both sides so that when I take it out, I don't have to unsleeve it every time. I can show people. I think this is probably the same thing. Yep. Charmeleon. Is this really going to be another? Oh my gosh. That's kind of cool. You get the Charmander and the Charmeleon. And the cool part about that is that because this is common and this is uncommon, they probably were on different sheets, which makes you think that it probably wasn't the normal like sets. It's probably the theme deck. And so because these have the same error and they're commons and uncommons, it makes me think that it's probably from the theme deck sheet, the Brushfire, which I'm pretty sure both these cards are Brushfire. I need to double check. But this would make me think it's not like from a booster pack. It's probably from a theme deck. I think Deli and I talked about that, but I'm recording this video probably like a month or two after we kind of settled the deal and stuff. I was waiting to get some time over the holidays to go through and actually talk through these in a little more detail with you guys. So this muck is like super, I think it's super dark maybe. Oh, okay. This is kind of a cool thing. I don't know if I can pick this up. Man, this is so hard to pick up. I don't even know if it's going to show you. But this basically has like a checkerboard pattern. Oh my gosh. Let me, my screen's not coming out. Okay, let me just pull this out. I'm pretty sure this is the checkerboard one. It is like super dark. I think maybe that was why we did it super dark, but it does have like a little bit of a checkerboard on the card around here. I've seen that on some unlimited base as well, which is kind of cool. I try to pick them up when I can, but it's just so hard to find. And the checkerboard sometimes happens in the hollow, and sometimes it happens on the card itself, which is kind of cool. And I'm telling you guys, I can see it here, but it's like a checkerboard just going all the way across the top and the bottom. And this card does look like a little darker as well. It's really hard to see. Oh man, I wish I had some other stuff near me. I really just don't keep a lot of stuff within reach anymore. This is a pretty dark Venomoth, which is kind of cool. Darker Venomoth. And cameras sometimes play tricks on you. They just change the color a little bit. Like obviously you guys are looking at a pretty good view right here, good camera. And so just keep in mind that sometimes, like what it looks like in person may look a little different than like this camera that's like popping some of these colors. We got square cut base set Kadabra. Love Kadabra. I'm a sucker for it. A lot of times something cool pops up with this Kadabra. I'll try to make a move on it. Dark Haunter. I'm pretty sure this one's off center. No. Okay, we got the stage error Dark Haunter up here. So you can see that right there, that little bit. It's kind of cool. I think this one might be a common one too. Like there might be more of these out there. You just gotta look for them. You got the Rainbow Air Dragonair. It's right here, the number. You see that little rainbow coming through. Can you guys guess what this one is? This is a card you could look at for 5 minutes and not figure out what the error is. It's on the front of the card. This is the D Fending Butterfree. So one of the earlier iterations, they actually put a dot right here between D and E. And yeah, it's actually really, really hard to find. So if you find one of these, usually in a bad condition, you can probably get $200-300 for it, would be my guess. Good condition, you can get a lot more. Less than 1,000, but more than 500 if you have a higher grade. It's an error that no one looks for, no one recognizes, and it's so uncommon that it's hard to find. And I know people that look at eBay all the time and they never find them. This is the D Edition Eevee. So if you ever seen the D Edition Butterfree, pretty common that are out there, but the Eevee version is actually a lot less common. I've probably seen 4 or 5 in the last like 3 years. And let you guys kind of take a peek at that. That's what it looks like. It looks like a D instead of a first edition. So pretty funny error that, it's like sometimes you find an error that like the Orange Stain Hitmonlee, it's like, as time went on, it's like, oh, this is not a Haunter. Oh, this is not another Haunter. And that's kind of cool. You get the, oh my gosh, I can't think of the word for it. It's like Manila or the, oh my gosh, I cannot think of what this word is. But basically, you see the border of the Pikachu. This did happen on Jungle for a few cards. I think I have a Jolteon like this, and I've seen several other cards that are like this, where you do have that different color border right here. It's really hard to see the difference. But one check you can do to kind of make sure it's not sun faded or another, it hadn't been tampered with, is on cards, the yellow and amongst a couple other colors will fade faster than like some of the other darker colors, like the greens and the blacks and all that stuff. And so when you look at this card, you see a lot of yellow, you see some red, you see like these things. It tells me that basically this card hasn't been sitting on the sun, and that's why this is. Because if you put any other card out in the sun, this border is going to turn that color. So it's kind of cool that you can kind of tell it's not sun fading. But why it happens, I'm not sure. I mean, did Pokemon leave this sheet out in the sun? I don't know. But who knows? It's kind of cool, though, when you find them. It's just, plus it being a Pikachu. I know he held on to this one for a long time. So you got Dark Blastoise. This is like some of the text is like faded throughout the middle. It's just really hard. It's kind of, it's almost like it ran out of ink, sort of like an ink error right there. Kind of cool. And then this might be the same one. So you can see them side by side. 2 of those. This is another one of those Zapdos. You can see it's not nearly as severe as the Pikachu, but it does have that border error along the side. You can see it's a little crease right here, but pretty cool. And then also it does have a little print, like white dot right there. Kind of cool. And then what is this? Isn't it always fun? You pull out an area, you're like, all right, what is this? Oh, I mean, this is corrected Zapdos. It's 1999. Is it off center on the back? Let's find out. Nope. I mean, has a little line up. No, it's a hair. That's going to be a comment. Oh, that's a hair. Oh, I know what this is. I had to pull it out to see it. So if you look here, you can kind of see some yellow lines going across, like up and down. Oh my gosh, it's so hard to see. This is so hard to see, but you see them going right up and down here. So there are some basic cards like that, like a Machamp and a few others, but it does go across, and I think you can actually see it down here a little bit better too, which is really, really cool. But man, I mean, some of these, like, you got to look at them. Like, I mean, I was like, all right, what's wrong with this Zapdos? It could be a number of things. All right, this next one's going to be really cool. This is a dark, Dark Charizard with a smudge stamp. I thought we were going to zoom in right away, so I kept it there. Dark Charizard with a smudge stamp. You can see that black stamp right there. Super, super smudged. Pretty common on Team Rocket, but I mean, to find a Dark Charizard, probably a little bit harder to find, just because people probably, you know, hold them, I guess. But that's kind of cool. And are you ready for the next one? Can you guys guess what it is? Out of focus Jigglypuff, base set 2. So if you look, it's super out of focus. I mean, some of these cards you look at and your brain just like starts crashing. It's like, dude, gotta have a reboot. So that's like really cool to have that out of focus Jigglypuff. It's a pretty cool muck. I know a lot of people are very, very into shifted cards, like the hollow pattern shift. But have you ever seen one where like the entire card border is just shifted? So you get this big white line coming down here on the muck. Pretty cool, pretty special, very unique in my opinion. You know, there's all kinds of shifts, and I think I've seen some shinings where shift up and down. You see a lot of base set hollows where like the hollow right here shifts a little bit, and you see some really subtle shifts. But the big shifts people like. But to get something like this where it's like literally white on the background, like that's like really cool. So you just never know what you're gonna find as you you know, look and stuff. This is a this might be like a backstamp Starmie. What is going on here? I think that's what some of these are. Nope, not that. What could this be? I'm not too sure. Deli's probably watching this like, Zach, come on, man, it's right there in front of you. I will double check on that one. Kind of cool. And maybe he just had some extra first ed base that looked good. And I was like, I'll take it. Okay, here's a really good example of the checkerboard. So maybe this sticks out a little more. But if you look, you can see that checkerboard pattern all the way through it right there. Like you see that texture right there? I mean, that checkerboard is like really, it makes a big difference in person, especially side by side. Very, very cool. And it's got the smudge stamp as well. But this isn't a severe smudge. It's kind of like a light, just in the one smudge. But still, like the checkerboard's kind of the cool part, in my opinion. You have some gold border cards. So these are pretty hard to find, especially first edition base. You can see this border is gold, if you want to see a kind of a close-up. If you guys do have gold border cards, I'm buying them. So if you go through your shadowless and your first edition base cards, if you look and find any that have a gold border, I'm willing to pay you guys a pretty penny for them. So just let me know, and we can talk. Obviously graded's more, but you see here's a gold border shadowless Diglett, just so you guys can kind of see it does pop. Some are more common than others. So like there's one gold border card I bought 3 of this week just on eBay, and like just cards at auction. So but if you have them, slide into my DMs on Instagram, and we'll figure something out. Gold border Machamp. This is the gold border Electrode. So you see that border is super dark around the outside. This one isn't quite as dark, so you can see the difference there. On the left one is a little bit darker than the right one. Gold border Potion. This one looks pretty cool. It actually looks way different because you can see the trainer's yellow, and this is like not. So some of these do look pretty cool. You guys guess what this area is? It's kind of hard to see in this light, but it's the Smear Haunter. And so it's like it has that little smear right there. Doing a binder page of these, I think I've seen a couple more. These are pretty affordable, over $100, less than $150 for like okay condition. When the condition starts getting better and better and the stamp starts bleeding over in the border, so this is like kind of not a severe one, but you can see this one right here is more severe because it does like bleed over. So you got 2 of those. You know, the condition and all that stuff goes up. So, you know, like an 8 is probably over $500 in my opinion. I don't know, maybe 400, I don't know. But a lower quality one is like between 100 and 150. So the quality does add a value layer to it. We got one more. So we got 3 right there. So I think there was one, the guy was asking 150 for it like 2 weeks ago. And I offered him 125. I didn't even want to pay the 150. Another one right there. So there's 4. Pretty common. And this is something that popped up recently on Facebook, and I was trying to actually pick up a couple of them. But this is probably the first time you guys have seen a lot of these in person. Well, at least a couple of them in a row. So there's a couple things going on with this card. You can see there's a big line through the Charizard right here. It does have that little black going over, so you can see that different coloration right there, little black circle. If you come down through, the text is a lot darker through here too, so it's super bold, like almost like it's double printed, but it doesn't go around the whole card. So you can see this is normal over here, this is normal down here, but right in here it's like super, super bold. So that's like a really, really cool Dark Charizard variant. There was another one that was up recently. Tried to buy it from the guy, but I think he declined to sell it to someone. And I don't know. Long story short, like, have some ethics in this hobby. Like, commit to what what you say you're going to do, regardless of what affects you financially. Like, have some ethics. So, I could go on about 5 or 6 different stories recently that really rubbed me the wrong way. So here we have another one. You can see very, very similar, except this line goes straight across. This line actually cuts through. You can see this dark, very, very similar. So really cool to see that. And then this third one is actually not all the way down here, but you can see it is kind of like right here. And it's like almost like a piece of paper or something was over it, or something happened to where the black really bled through. But clearly you can see the Charmeleon, coming through here. So it wasn't like, it was something during the printing process. It wasn't something that sort of happened at the end or after the fact. It is kind of cool that you can still see so much actual, like, the card art with the error that's going on. So there's 3 in a row, probably the first and maybe only time you'll ever see 3 in a row like that. Pretty excited to add these to a binder. And I think 1 or 2 of them might be pretty minty too. So, all right, coming up, we have another gold border Machamp. Super excited about this. I mean, these are hard to come by. I think I've bought maybe 1 more, maybe, since my last video. Like, I don't even think I bought 1 more. This might have been the one I'm thinking of, actually. Really, really hard to come by. You see this gold border Machamp. Very, very cool when you find them. If you have them, keep them. I just don't think they're going to pop up that often. We have a Heart Clefairy. So that's where you have the heart right here. Kind of cool. There are 2 versions of this. One of them has a circle around the heart. Like literally like a circle, like almost like a, hey, so my phone decided to cut off. So here we are, we're back again. The circle one's worth more in my opinion. It's really cool, and it's nice that you have like that sort of heart, like Clefairy Pokemon, like on this. And, it's like Clefairy is like a base set holo. Like, they could have done Clefable, they could have done Pikachu, but it's like they chose Clefairy to make it one of the original 16 holos, like, kind of crazy. And I mean, to have a heart kind of go with like sort of the cutesy Pokemon, from that. I mean, Chansey's there too, but Chansey seems more motherly. This seems kind of like, that baby sort of cutesy thing. So I do value the one with the circle more, just to keep that in mind, but still very, very cool. And then this last card, I just couldn't pass it up. He made it available. It's a staff, Evolutions Charizard, signed by Mitsuhiro Arita, which is pretty cool. It doesn't have a 2 collector or 2 nobody or 2 whatever. I don't mind if it's addressed to me, because I usually just would never sell that card. But there's no inscription, like I've been in Charizard, like sort of sketch on here. But there's just so few of these that pop up, and it's such a nice looking card. I mean, I couldn't say no to it. It is a lot of center left to right, so you're thinking like kind of like maybe an 8, just when you think of centering. And for the signature, I mean, to me, this looks like a 10 signature. Why signatures get certain grades, I'm not really sure. But I don't really see any mistakes, so no smudging, smearing. So hopefully that'd be kind of cool to get like an 8-10 like staff Charizard. So pretty cool, especially since these don't pop up anymore. So I think I'll probably follow up on this Starmie, kind of figure out what's going on there. But I'll tell you what, maybe just because you guys stuck through so long, we will quickly go through them all again. And so we got 3 Arita signatures. This one probably wouldn't grade well because that is a brutal signature. Kind of cool. So that's what I'm saying with the smearing and the smudging. And then, oh yeah. Hopefully this isn't just like filler content at the end. Hopefully you guys can actually just see everything. Kind of cool. It also lets me put everything back in the same order too, which is neat. You got the Haunters, the gold border cards. Let you guys just get a quick run through. Oh yeah. The shifted, the double, the smear stamp, albino, Dark Blastoise, Pikachu, D Eevee, the D Butterfree. It's like double D's. It's kind of cool. Dragonair Shadowless, the Haunter, Square Kadabra, the darker Venomoth, which I've actually seen a couple of darker Venomoths. I think it's just easier to pick out. The off-center backs, and then these are all just kind of like off-center cards. Pretty cool. I think I may end up just shifting to just a complete just off-center binder, because there's so many off-center cards and they keep popping up that it's like I think it's inevitable that you just start at the front and then just fill it up till you fill up the binder. And collecting is a journey. It takes a long time, and probably cliche to say that because you guys probably hear that all the time, but it's like it's not like I'm gonna pick like 20, 25 and be like, all right, I'm done here. It's like you probably just keep growing that binder your whole life, and maybe it's silly to keep everything in one place, but I don't know. It's kind of cool. It's like that's a unique opportunity just to see so many of these things all at the same time. And we got the shifted, not shifted, but the kind of the, what do you call it? They call it a misaligned print layer. So that's what we'll call it, a misaligned print layer. You see it's kind of like double text there. Not as crazy as that base set 2 card, but still. So thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully you like the content. Let me know if you want to see more. And until next time, give you guys some more cool card facts and knowledge, and see you guys around.